3 nations, 65 hours, 25 meetings and 8 world leaders. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Europe. That's his first visit overseas in the year 2022, and he has a jam-packed schedule over the next 3 days. First on the agenda was meeting the Indian diaspora in Germany. The people extended a warm welcome to the Indian leader. Then it was a guard of honor with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. This is the first time Prime Minister Modi is meeting Scholz. The two leaders also held a bilateral today and signed the Green and Sustainable Energy Partnership. The German Chancellor also invited the Indian Prime Minister for the G7 summit in June. The visit comes in the backdrop of the Ukraine war.
यूक्रेन के संकट के आरंभ से ही हमने तुरंत युद्ध विराम का आह्वान किया और इस बात पर जोर दिया था कि विवाद को सुलझाने के लिए बातचीत ही एकमात्र उपाय है। हमारा मानना है कि इस युद्ध में कोई विजयी पार्टी नहीं होगी, सभी को नुकसान होगा। इसलिए हम शांति के पक्ष में हैं।
Es freut mich außerordentlich, dass die ersten...
I am delighted that the first intergovernmental consultations of this government take place with the Indian government. For me, that is a sign of the special quality of our relationship. No less pleased am I at the fact that your first trip abroad after a longer period without travel brings you to Germany. And hopefully we will be having you as our guest back soon. I invited you as our guest to the G7 summit end of June to Elmau, and we look forward to welcoming you back to Germany. We are ready to continuing and deepening the close cooperation with India on global issues.
In 2021, India and Germany marked 70 years of diplomatic ties. The two nations have been strategic partners since 2000. So this visit is an opportunity to enhance cooperation and discuss matters of mutual and regional interest. From Berlin, the next stop for the leader is Copenhagen. Prime Minister will be traveling to Denmark at the invitation of the country's Prime Minister. On the agenda is the second India-Nordic summit hosted by Denmark. Prime Minister Modi will also interact with other Nordic leaders, including the Prime Ministers of Iceland, Norway, Sweden, as well as Finland. He will also be attending an India-Denmark business forum and will be meeting the Indian community in Denmark as well. The first India-Nordic summit took place in 2018 in Stockholm. This year's summit will focus on issues of common interest like post-pandemic economic recovery, climate change, India-Nordic cooperation in the Arctic. From there, the Indian Prime Minister will be flying to Paris. In focus is a meeting with the French President Emmanuel Macron. India and France have had a strategic partnership since 1998. Historically, they have always enjoyed close ties. The two share a robust economic partnership as well as defense cooperation. Prime Minister Modi's Europe trip highlighting the growing importance of the India-Europe relationship. Engagement between the two sides has increased. Foreign ministers from European countries have visited India, marking a push for growing strategic and economic cooperation. The Prime Minister's visit could set the stage for the India-EU summit, likely boosting the free trade agreement negotiations between the two. With us on the broadcast this minute is Daniel Dillenbohmer from Berlin. He is the senior editor of the Welt newspaper. We also have our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, with us from Berlin. He's been tracking all those developments on the ground. Coming to you first, Daniel, tell us more about how the Indian Prime Minister's visit is being viewed in Berlin. The one key takeaway from that visit so far has been the emphasis laid on strengthening cooperation in the energy sector, which is a very important aspect of this dynamic relationship, also with the signing of the Green and Sustainable Energy Partnership now.
Absolutely. And I think in general, one can say that the image, the reputation of India here in Germany overall is very positive. Germans have seen that India was able to continue its economic success story, and many Germans and many German businesses in particular hope that India could be the big democratic alternative to China as a trading partner, as an economic partner in Asia. And this is creating a lot of sympathies here. All the more, there is some disappointment with India's foreign policy and the lack of a clear stance against the Russian invasion in Ukraine, because most Germans, like other Europeans, would have expected that India, being the biggest democracy in the world, would take a stance against an autocratic regime invading another country. And also India having itself some border conflicts with autocratic regimes, people here thought that it would be natural for India to take a stance against the Russian invasion. But I think all those signs of cooperation you just mentioned show that Germany still wants to continue its long-term partnership with India and indeed wants to deepen it.
Right, and India has made its stance vis-a-vis the war clear that dialogue is the only way forward. Let's get Siddhant onto the conversation as well. Siddhant, this visit by the Indian Prime Minister also carrying significance as it could set the stage for the India-EU summit, likely boosting the free trade agreement negotiations between the two. If you can take us through the key highlights of that visit so far. Hectic few hours ahead for the Indian Prime Minister, and give us a sense of the mood in Berlin right now.
Well, there are a lot of informal moments during this visit. Just a short while ago, 5 minutes ago, the Indian Prime Minister just walked past from his hotel to the place where the business leaders meeting is taking place. That's a place behind me, and of course that put a lot of diaspora people in they started spontaneously chanting of course slogans, and of course this is something that was a sense of a pleasant surprise for many people who were just standing, including the media as well. The Indian Prime Minister just walking past the Brandenburg Gate and entering into this venue behind me, where of course the business leaders meeting is underway. But largely, if we talk about the visit, there are of course two components: the meeting with the Chancellor, the German Chancellor, the hard diplomacy in which we saw outcomes as well. German side inviting India for the G7 summit, the pact on green partnership, how Germany is ready to support India in terms of fulfilling its targets for the Glasgow that were announced last year in Glasgow, in fact. But largely the color has been put up by the Indian diaspora who is present in full force in Berlin, welcoming the Indian Prime Minister in every nook and corner. In fact, even as I speak, there are members of Indian diaspora standing near me. So they, of course, are very enthusiastic about it. But largely, it will end with the grand celebrations later in the day with the Indian Prime Minister addressing the diaspora, the members of the diaspora. So a packed visit with a lot of outcomes in terms of strengthening of the relationship that will help go forward in terms of not only the regional discourse but also international discourse, how the relationship between India and Germany can be a factor of stability.
Right, Daniel, if I can come to you with that. The cooperation in the energy sector and the growing significance of the partnership between India and Germany on that front in the backdrop of the Ukraine war, and your assessment of the potential that the relationship really has going the way forward when it comes to cooperation in the energy space.
I think in Germany there's a clear recognition of India's technological advances in recent years. And from here, from Germany, India is really regarded as an innovation hub. And that goes in particular for energy technology. because India, with its particular challenges from its outset, has been far better at creating technologies to use energy more efficiently. So I think this is one of the fields where Germany will look for India as a partner, and where this new cooperation can be beneficial to both sides. But then we also know that both countries have a keen eye on international climate negotiations, where Germany, as part of the European negotiating team, is always trying to accommodate emerging economic powers better, while convincing them of saving more emissions. So maybe this cooperation can stretch even as far as that. And here, India is also a major factor.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Daniel and Siddhant, thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.